Thanks again for staying with me on the show, TMI Monday. We're getting our discussion segment off the ground, but first let's welcome our panelists. I'd like to thank very especially for my extreme left, Comrade Godfrey Iso Godfrey. Is a civil society activist and public affairs commentator. Comrade, many thanks for joining us on the program.
Thank you very much.
I also have with us in the studio Dr. Samson Isibo. Dr. Samson Isibo is a frontline political analyst, political activist. Dr. Samson, many thanks for joining us on the program. I also have with us in the studio the senior pastor, Day Spring International Gospel Center. Is also the state leader of PFN, youth leader of PFN and CAN. I'd like to thank very especially Reverend Phil Aruch. Many thanks for coming.
Good morning. Thanks for having me this morning.
But gentlemen, I want to thank you again for coming on the show. The 2019 election is just around the corner. One major issue that has been at the front burner is accusation and counter-accusation. And then on top of that, you have the issue of allegations or plans to rig the elections. So this morning we're asking, is there anything that we can take from this? This is the character of politicians, particularly in an election year. Let me start from my extreme left, Comrade Iso Godfrey Iso. What are your thoughts?
Well, it's clear and obvious to all that there are some shady deals about the 2019 general elections. Because the last time I checked, President Muhammadu Buhari is a single individual with just a single vote. And the group of persons that passed the Electoral Act, the new Electoral Act, I think there should be around 469. That's 360 House of Representatives, 109 House of Senate. Is President Muhammadu Buhari telling us that the distinguished senators, collectively, their brains put together, his own is higher than their own? Is President Muhammadu Buhari telling us that the 360 House of Representative members, which also comprises APC members of his party, is he telling me that they don't have enough or good brains to reason on behalf of Nigerians? These people actually were elected to do their job. They were elected to make laws on behalf of Nigerians. And they sat together, PDP, APC, ABGA, and what have you, they sat together, came up with the Electoral Act, and it is incumbent on the president to look into this act and sign it. Now, his refusal to sign this bill has given room for doubts, has given rooms that perhaps the president may be nursing some shady deals, because nobody knows. You know, and again, it is high time we looked into our constitutional provisions. Okay. There should be clear separation of powers, because this is presidential system of government. The idea whereby the president will veto a bill by refusing to assent to a bill already enacted and passed by joint session of the National Assembly, it gives cause for worry. Okay. Give cause of great concern. So the rationale behind the suspicion within Nigerians that there are plans to rig the 2019 elections was occasioned by the president's refusal to sign the Electoral Act.
Okay, let me pause you there. Dr. Samson Isibo, do you share in this sentiment against the background of the feeling that if the National Assembly were really so serious about having this bill become a law for the 2019 election, why are they bringing it, or why did they bring it 2 months to the election?
Thank you very much. I quite agree with my colleagues. It is obvious that the indices we are seeing is trending towards it's not even rumors, it's becoming reality. It's staring us in the face. Why has the president refused to sign this bill that is for everybody, not for only him? It's not his personal property. Sign it for the generality of people to make use of it. What is the bill? That the island should be guided by the rules and laws of the electoral bill. But for them to throw it away or to put it aside by the president, I think it's obvious that something is fishy. There's something that is trying to hide. You see, let him sign this bill. What is the purpose of the bill? So that the card readers will be legally from use. As at now, we use it without any kind of backing it. But the president is hiding something. Why? He knows that if he use the card reader, all the million votes from his constituency will not be accounted for. Underage voters voting, before you know it will come out with 20 million, 10 million votes. So in order to make this thing to be well peaceful, legally acceptable to everybody, we see when you don't see clearly. But that said, we are not going to, because it's already late or deleted. It's not so. And there are other indices showing that this, our president, is hiding something. Why is he telling us that they are going to extend the voting process to Nigerian Republic, Chad Republic? That they are going to be polling booths in all those areas.
Well, INEC has come out to deny that vehemently. So where do you get your facts?
No, if INEC say A, don't follow A, go to B,
INEC has come out to say that was just a figment of the imagination of those who said, and there's no substance in it.
Well, let INEC come and prove it, because as at now, we don't have confidence in this present INEC. We don't have a stakeholder in the system. INEC we are yet to have confidence in him, because the way he's operating. I was at Advocate during the election. I was one of the what do you call it?
Monitors.
Yes, monitors. I represented coalition of registered political parties. I saw the way they did. INEC will be saying one thing, and at the day of election, it's another thing entirely. We don't want to be taken like a fool again.
Okay, let me pause you there. I'll be back to you shortly. Reverend Phil, apart from not signing the Electoral Act, I know that you have some thoughts along those lines. Why is there so much concerns about the credibility of the 2019 elections, as it were?
Thank you very much. If you look at the antecedents of this present INEC, headed by Professor Yakubu Mahmoud, the elections they have conducted since he came into office about 2 years ago, you cannot say that most of those elections are credible. That's the reality. Most of them are not credible. And the very case in point is the Osun election, where it was obvious the party that was, and then at the last minute, at the point where the result was to be declared, you suspended the whole process and called for a runoff or whatever election you call it, only for you not to use the vote of about 3,000 to decide the entire voting system. So INEC has not been able to prove that Nigerians can trust them. That's the truth. You mentioned, or somebody mentioned, why now, 2 months to the election, that your
the National Assembly.
No, yeah. Nigerians should have a sense of history and remember, this is the 4th time that the president has rejected this Electoral Act. The first time it was sent to him was in March this year. That was obviously 12 months to February 2019. This is the 4th time he's rejecting it. So it is him. If we didn't have a transparent system, as it were, under Professor Jega and the former president, Goodluck Jonathan, if we didn't have it, he wouldn't be there as president. I remember in the build-up to 2011 general election, where we first attempted to begin to use this card reader and all this thing. The National Assembly, under the leadership of the BIMA, had to meet severally and adjusted the Electoral Act just to accommodate some things. They were meeting severally. And the president was assenting to it just to accommodate it. Even when they needed more money, it was given to them. But here we are, And some people are saying, oh, you cannot shift the goalposts.
In the middle of the game.
No, the game, this present administration has been in office for over 3.5 years. And we already know that we needed to do this adjustment. Whose responsibility was it to have ensured that this process was done? Was it not the presidency, ANEC, and the government? And they never did anything. And you are not telling us it is too late. This is where we are. 17th of December. 2019 budget has not been presented to the National Assembly for consideration. It's not been presented. So how do you run a country like that? What have they been doing from January till the 17th of December, and you have not presented it?
Okay.
That's where we are. So there are things that this present government is doing, and then we are wondering. And I used to wonder aloud, but now I'm beginning to think soberly, because if the president's wife came out a few days ago and said, there are 2 deities, 2 ancestral powers that has held my husband captive and has held this country captive. And I'm wondering, the people who are asking me and Nigerians to vote for President Muhammadu Buhari, I don't care which party he comes from. If a man with great power has been held captive by only 2 persons, and his wife, no less a person than his wife, the woman in the other room, is the one that now came out to say it, and you are telling us to give our vote to him again, so that these 2 individuals will hold us more captive for another 4 years?
Well, even at that, there's no substance in the comments.
That's his wife, sir.
Yes, I agreed is his wife.
Yes.
There's no substance because, while she didn't mention names,
yes,
it's possible she could be playing to the gallery.
No.
Yes.
She said that in a public gathering.
Yes.
Where women were gathered. And she, if you look at her statements,
if she was serious about it, what's the problem?
September 2016.
Why did she name names? Why did she mention names?
Every time because you want her to name names.
Yes.
Don't forget the kind of culture they operate. For that woman to even be speaking, there was even a time they tagged a terrorist from Adamawa. That the way she's speaking. In fact, even the social media report now we're hearing is that the woman is trying to pack out of Aso Rock.
Well, we can't substantiate that.
Journalists, we can't substantiate that.
We can't substantiate that. There's no way we can back up that statement.
In the hand of 2 cabals.
Okay, let me pause you there. Comrade Godfrey, I'd like to get your thoughts. These some views people have also expressed, that the not too rosy relationship between the executive and the legislature since the commencement of this administration may have also brought us to where we are now, that as critical as the Electoral Amendment Act is, the president has given reasons for not assenting to it. How true is that?
Well, when you say the not too rosy relationship between the executive and the legislature, I wonder where that is coming from, if not personal interest. Because the last time I checked, after the 2015 general elections, the ruling party, the All Progressive Congress, had majority in both houses. So that, of course, ought to have given yardstick or given the impetus for a very peaceful, harmonious political relationship between both arms of government. But again, the ruling party already have their principal candidates, candidates for the principal positions, like the Speaker, the Senate President, and what have you. And due to the failure of achieving that aim, of course, and that led to a debacle in the relationship, the so-called debacle, as it were, a fiasco, between the executive and the legislature. But be that as it may, these persons in office today took out of office to defend not their personal interest, not just their party interest, but the interest of Nigerians and Nigeria as a whole. So the reason, and again, the failure of relationship, or the fiasco of relationship between the executive and the legislature shouldn't be a yardstick for the president to send, simply because, I put it again, sir, the National Assembly has APC members in that house, and they are privy. As a matter, they voted for this electoral act, because if they were against it, it wouldn't have seen the light of the day. As the man of God just said now, the president has refused to listen to this bill for the 4th time. And if the sane and very rational and cerebral senators from APC, under the auspices of the APC, deem it fit not to vote for this bill, it would have long died a natural death. But in their wisdom, they say that this bill will not only give us a very, not just, of course, we cannot have a perfect election, because we are not in a utopia state, at least a reasonable, free and fair election. This bill will also make Nigeria develop holistically. And in their wisdom, they are centered to this bill. So that, of course, should put an end to the issue of failure of communication or the bad relationship between. The president has problem with himself, not with the legislature. He has problem with himself and Nigeria as a nation.
Because that will not be a fair comment to say the president has a problem with himself.
Yes,
as you know, doesn't have any problem with himself.
For me, sir. President Muhammadu Buhari has elevated his personal interest ahead of party interest, ahead of Nigeria interest. Because
but if you say that the party has not come out to say they are against the president's stand,
for goodness sake, we've not heard APC senator opposing the electoral bill.
Yes.
The last time I checked. We've not heard the APC senators kicking against this electoral bill. As a matter of fact, it was passed. And if it was passed, I don't know, I don't have the actual figures right now. I'm very sure APC still have a reasonable number of senators.
They still have majority.
If I'm not making a mistake, sir. Okay. That is to say, if the party APC sat down and said, we don't want this electoral act to see the light of the day, it would have been killed even during the first reading.
Okay.
Now, don't forget that irrespective of the fact that they were voted by a vast majority of Nigerians, they still take some caricature instruction from their party. So if their party, after the first veto by the president, the party would have called them, look, kill this bill in the National Assembly. It shouldn't get to the president again. It would have been killed. But that the senators, in their wisdom, sir, they passed this bill. APC senators specifically, they passed this.
So you're saying that the fact that the bill scaled through first, second, and eventually
APC supported the bill.
Okay, let me.
Only the president is against it.
Let me proceed there. Reverend Fee, you wanted to quickly add something.
Yes, that relationship.
Yes.
In 2015, when this National Assembly was inaugurated, the president said that he wasn't interested in who will become the who in the National Assembly.
Exactly.
He said so. And so, on the day that they were to have their inaugural session, where they were to elect their principal officers, they actually called some APC senators for a meeting somewhere. While they were there attending that meeting, the president having said, I'm not interested, the other party senators went to the National Assembly to meet and elected their principal officers. So anything, it is from there that their problem started. Oh, they said they wanted Ahmed Lawal, it was not Saraki they wanted and all the rest. But the president had openly said he didn't want anybody. And so from that day, the problem of the leadership in the National Assembly started, all because of the body language of this Mr. or the so-called body language of Mr. President. So he is the architect. And from that day till now, the party have not been able to reconcile themselves. Only a few days ago, or yesterday, it was published in the one of the national dailies, Tinubu saying that it is robbers and thieves who stole the leadership, the leadership mandate of the National Assembly. They are the one that has caused this problem happening between Mr. President and America. If you have a political party, you should be able to run the party. Obviously, it is clear to us that these people at that level of government, they were not ready for leading this nation. They were not ready to lead this nation. Otherwise, the excuses you find, the article, the PDP candidate article, accused the president of not going to attend the burial of 19 soldiers who died recently. And the defense of the presidency was that in 2011, when 19 soldiers died in Zakebiam, that Obasanjo and Atiku didn't attend. I said, my God. 2001, sorry, and now is 16 years or 17 years. You are saying that you are using the action of someone 17 years ago to justify what you cannot do now. The vice president was on a debate, and half of the time they gave to him, he was talking about 16 years. Who's talking about 16 years? We're looking at how to go forward. I'm talking about 16 years. Okay. So they need to put their house in order and adjust their lifestyle.
All right, Dr. Samson Sibo, what's your take on the way out of this logjam of the electoral amendment bill not being signed into law? What's your take?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I think it's a simple something.
How simple is it?
One, for the president to sign. Two, listen to me. He's banking on his negativity of not signing this into international protocol. what is international protocol? Every country have their own differences. You cannot come out to say because Ghana is doing it, they are not, Nigerians should follow suit. It is not so. What we see there is that Mr. President should forego or forsake his personal interest, his hidden agenda. And what is the hidden agenda? To make sure he win this election by hook and crook.
You know, you can't substantiate that.
Thank you, but
you can substantiate that.
Yes, I can substantiate
no, there's
it.
No way you can substantiate that.
Here. But it is there. Why has he refused to sign simple thing to legitimize corridor which we have been using? He said no. And he has been giving series of excuses like there is a typographical error, he will send it back. There is a sort of removing by mistake or whatever, he will send it back. And the bill will stay with him for more than 30 days. The last day that he is justified to return it, he will then send it back for 4 months. You see, there is ominous something that this man is up to something. He's not having the interest of the country at heart. And he's talking of peace, peace, peace. This election that is forthcoming is based, is a fulcrum that will guarantee the peace and tranquility of this country. In our Korokoro like this, one man cannot just come and tumble the election. Our eyes don't open now. So nobody, you are going to do election in Nigeria Republic or Chad, it's not going to be possible. So what we are saying is that let him sign this bill and let us forget about the brouhaha. The former president, President Jonathan, signed that electoral amendment 2 days to the last election in 2015, but to be specific, 2 days to the election. He signed it. Why is he saying now we still have about almost a month to go?
2 months.
Why can't he sign it? And that's all. So we are begging him to put the interest in, because it's good to say, national interest, national interest. Let him have national interest at heart than personal interest.
Okay, let me pause it there. I mean, talking about the 2019 election, we've also seen, we saw another issue. This time it has to do with the peace accord amongst the presidential candidates. At the first instance, some signed, some rejected, but eventually the leader came to sign. This peace accord, does it have any meaning in our election, particularly as it relates to the issue of rigging that we've been talking about?
Well, it is the presidential candidates that signed the peace accord, not really their supporters or party members.
Okay.
Of course, it's protocols. I was discussing with a friend some days ago. I told him, I said, one of the reasons why I like Abdul Salam Abubakar and the likes of Dangote is that their own interest is not, I'm supporting this. Because we've never seen Abubakar coming out to say, I support this my candidate, unlike Obasanjo. His own is there should be peace in Nigeria. Nigeria should not break. So that, what do they call that peace accord? Of course, they are the elite. They signed it for formalities. Because in actual sense, you will never see President Muhammadu Buhari saying, there should be war. No, they won't do that. But they have, if there is need for, in quotes, they know how to communicate to their foot soldiers to carry out their nefarious activities. The peace accord for me is a fiasco already. It's dead on arrival. Simply because, I think the songwriter said, we don't want no peace, we want equal right and justice. The president should send the best peace accord we need right now is the Electoral Act. I think that is what we, because I will always hammer on this. Even APC is supporting the Electoral Act through their senators. So only the president is trying to create war where none exists. He's already giving us reason to think war.
But there are those, when you say only the president is supporting war,
two cabals.
Yes, that by not signing Electoral Amendment Act, into law is promoting war. That's an unfair compliment of
okay, let me know the word war.
Yes.
It's creating a room for injustice, or rather a room for rancor.
Okay.
Because I repeat, sir, it is only the president. Because not even our very, very vibrant, eloquent comrade chairman, Oshomole, has come out to kick against the Electoral Act. Because if he speaks, he has spoken on behalf of the APC. And no other Nigerian, apart from President Muhammadu Buhari, has kicked against the electoral. So let's not digress again. The peace accord is a good one. It is procedural for every elections, especially when we have an infantile nascent democracy like that of Nigeria, which is still evolving. So there is need for the stakeholders and the big players to come out to say, okay, we will not create any room for war. We are going to accept the outcome of the 2019 general elections. But peace accord was signed the last time, and you see that goes to Rubebe. He shouted when he noticed an aberration somewhere. So he did sign the peace accord. So he did not sign. So if there is, like I said, if there is no problem, there will be no need for rancors.
Dr. Samson Zibo, initially some of the presidential candidates didn't sign. Some feigned they were not aware, they were not invited. But eventually, they later, went ahead to sign it. And then some said, well, it was a face-saving action. Is this just a mere formality, like Comrade said?
No.
Okay.
Well, yes, that signing in itself is formality. It's just a jamboree, a fanfare. Why? I do not, right from the inception, I do not have confidence in this present president. He will be saying one thing and will do another thing. Corruption, corruption, corruption. Whom is he facing? The opposition. Corruption, corruption, corruption. Whom is he facing? His principal opponent. So what that signing, yes, you can sign.
Those principal opponents that you're talking about,
yes.
Are they free, as in free in the word free? Because they say he who seeks equity must come with clean hands.
Yes.
Don't they have skeletons?
Yes,
in the
as the court of law find them.
And so why don't we wait for the court of law to do that before we say?
Well, we believe in the court process is better. Why are they bringing the names of people that have not been sent to jail or whatever? It is another thing entirely now. You should let the court take its course before you came out with a list of names. That's about that one. This electoral, signing of the peace accord is just a jamboree. Why? You show it to the world in the full glare of everybody. Yes, we are signing. But what we are doing now outside there is different. Let us wait and see. When the election is drawing nearer, we see the way they will be packing opponents 2 days, 3 days to the election, packing them, putting them in one area.
But
this has been happening.
This speculation, Dr. Samson Zibo.
It happens in Ekiti, it happens in Osun. They will pack the leaders of the opposition, lock them somewhere until after the election. So what we are saying is that let there be peaceful, fair, and credible election that can guarantee peace. Without that one, I can tell you whether 100 times you sign a peace accord, it will not have any effect at all.
Reverend Phil Aroji, let's get your perspectives on this peace accord signing, particularly with those who initially declined, but eventually later got to sign.
Have that been proven that they declined? Was it proven? Why don't we believe them? Why don't we believe them on the face value? The statement from the Atiku campaign organization of PDP and then that of
SDP
and that of I don't know.
It's ACPN.
I don't even know the name of our party.
ACPN
said that of PDP. I read that there was challenging communication, that they were not properly informed. So, but when they now heard of it, they went to sign. So we should believe them on the face value. But however, the peace accord have no legal backing. It's just something of morality and all the rest. Apart from the peace accord that was signed that last week Tuesday, there was also a forum where other persons didn't show up, and I was there. Last Monday, which was the 10th, the CAN, the national leadership of CAN, led by the president of the Baptist Convention, Reverend
Ayokunle,
had a forum where they sent for most of the presidential candidates, about 12 of them, and most of them came. Some didn't come. Nobody is talking about that. That's the leadership of CAN. It was at the CAN secretariat in Abuja, and I was in that meeting. Some of them didn't come, and even some that came, the president, for example, was represented by Michi, Minister of Transportation, and Festus Kayemo. They represented him. He wasn't there. We are not even allowed to ask on certain questions. When you ask questions the parity way, some of them also came. That's also one thing that Nigerians should know, that some didn't appear physically. Peter Obi was there physically. Atiku was there physically, even as least at 9 p.m. John Dara was there. The young man from that lives in Lagos, Fela Durusoyi, was there. The next day, which was the day they signed the peace accord, which was Tuesday, the youth wing of CAN had another meeting in Sheraton. Some of these presidential aspirants were also there. Some didn't come. So it's not only one. Peace accord is just one of the forums that all of these people are supposed to come. We thank God for those who signed and those who later signed. The vice presidential debate has taken place. We are looking forward to January 19th for the presidential debate.
Exactly. Are there pullouts from the vice presidential debates?
Oh, powerful, powerful.
Tell us.
I didn't watch it live because you know where we were Friday evening.
Yes.
But after then, I've taken time to look at it even yesterday and all the rest. There were 5 of them there. I really can't pick all their names apart from the 2 main ones. But there's a lady I must give it to who did very well. The fair lady did very well. She could speak from her head without reading from any paper. The vice president tried. I'm talking of Pastor Osebanjo, Professor Osebanjo. He tried his best, but you can't give what you don't have. And it becomes difficult for you to defend what you cannot. What is defensible? Obviously, the present administration, in my own opinion, have not done so much that you can defend certain things. So at a point, you find the vice president become a comedian. Where were we, and all the rest. You find a problem like that. That's a professor of law who is very eloquent. But when it came to Peter Obi, it's there. Nigerians can go to YouTube and internet and watch it if you didn't watch it. The man has facts and figures without reading from any paper. He has facts and figures in percentages and all the rest across the world. For any country, you mentioned China, he has them right there. From his head, he could put it there.
Yeah.
So, and by the constitution of this country, part of the duties of the vice president is to focus on the economy to focus on the economy. And this man had the figures. The incumbent vice president couldn't defend subsidy because when they moved the price of petrol from 87 naira to 145 naira, we were told that that would be the end and burial of subsidy. But now he's coming to defend subsidy. And some of the figures we were hearing from that debate was threatening. Okay. That actually Nigerians, in terms of healthcare, that there is 5 naira allocated to a Nigerian per day for healthcare, according to the figure brought in by Peter Obi, 5 naira per day for healthcare. And that we are subsidizing petroleum with so much billions of naira on daily basis. You cannot defend that. Okay. You can't defend
So for you, the debate was a good opportunity.
The election has been won already.
Okay, well, we'll leave it at that. But just to make reference to the debate, there was something that someone actually sent to me. It made a lot of sense. He said, Peter Obi said 6% of 180 million Nigerians goes into extreme poverty every minute. Then we all should be in extreme poverty in less than 1 hour, because 6% of 180 million is 10.8 million. If 10.8 million slips into poverty every minute, it will take just 17 minutes for the entire 180 million to slip into extreme poverty. Could it be that there were some slips in some of the data and statistics reeled out in that analysis? Come, go to Iso.
Peter Obi is not completely right in those data. But holistically speaking, I'm a social worker by training, and poverty is a relative concept. Dangote became poorer under President Muhammadu Buhari. Someone who was, for me, I work in the organized private sector. I will say that I won't say that I became poorer under President Muhammadu Buhari, but my income became lesser under this present administration. And even the lesser income now buy lesser things.
Unlike before, where the income, which was even higher, could buy more things. But under this government, it's not as if my salary was reduced, but as a businessman, there are some sales incentives, there are some extra monies that come from extra performance. But under this government, a lot of companies folded up. You know, when I see some youth crying for President Muhammadu Buhari, especially those who are jobless, they will die jobless because they don't even know the numbers of companies that are currently folded up. You know, they keep sending CVs to their senators and their uncle, what have you. First of all, government can't even employ us with the youth. It is the organized private sector that will employ people. So what the government is supposed to do is to create enabling environments for the organized private sector to strive, thereby employment will not take place.
Okay, I just wanted to make a correction. When you said youths who are, you know, advocating for Buhari, I mean, they will die seeking job. I don't know. I mean, that's not a very fair.
Let me make.
No matter how you try to clarify it, I think we just need to be careful with our choice of words.
Okay,
yeah.
I will do that statement.
Okay, okay.
But the reason why I made a statement, sir, is simply because if this present trend is allowed to continue, many companies will fold up, and the more companies fold up, the more people lose jobs. Yeah. The more the unemployed soldiers increase in number. Are you getting my point, sir? There are persons who were living well, now they are jobless because companies folded up. Now, that aside, then look at what Peter B said, sir. The reason is not far-fetched. If you were earning, for example, 200,000 naira, and you could spend, let's just say, 50,000 to run your family, and you now have 150,000 for savings for where have you. In this present economic situation, you are going to spend an average of 150,000 to run your family. At that level, that is poverty, sir. That the man can still take 3 square meals in code does not mean he's not poor. That you can still dress very well does not mean you are not poor. That was, as a poverty is a relative concept.
Okay, okay. Dr. Sibo, yes, let me get your final perspectives on this before we call it a wrap on the discussion. Did you have major pullers from that debate?
I thank Mr. Peter Obi for what he said, but if in fact, it's even too mild. It's supposed to be 10%. Why? I will start now from the workers, the pay packet they are getting. Is it enough for them to even pay for house rent? No talk of transportation, feeding, sending their children to school. The poor masses in the town, they can't have 3 square meals a day. You are saying that no, we are working mathematics. Every one of us are becoming more poor. Because we cannot feed as we want, we cannot spend money as we want. The economy is going down every day. Even the man attested to it by himself 3 days ago that he said we should brace up for more economic, what is it, strangulation or whatever. In a decent society, that president is supposed to resign that very day. So we are more poorer than before. 100% poorer. So who can be boast of is those people in the corridor of power that are enjoying. But go to the town, go to Ring Road, you
but there are those who feel differently about what you're saying, Dr.
Well, there are few. Those who steal money. Those who steal money, those that are in corridor of power at the federal level, even in the state level.
No salary earners.
So what are you talking about? Okay. So we are more poorer than before, and we don't want to continue to be poor. Our destiny is in our hands.
Okay, fine. That's
the poor people.
That's a good way. That's a good way to cap it off by saying that our destinies, of course, your destiny is in your hand. Let's put it that way. But on the final note, what is the level of awareness of Nigerians in terms of political education and political participation in 2019, interfacing that with the challenge of vote buying? People are saying, well, thank God, I mean, the election is here. I'm sure on that day I'll get my chunk from the national cake. Whoever gives me money, I give him my vote, irrespective of, I mean, that's
not with what Nigerians are going through currently now. Even if you give them money, they may collect the money, but they will know what to vote for. Because no, the reality is what we are saying. If you can tell me, or anybody can tell me, in the last 3.5 years, any sector that were found improvements, I'll give President Buhari my vote. I didn't give him in 2015. But if you tell me one thing that has improved, if you can tell me the budget that was allocated, the money that was allocated for roads, federal roads in Edo State, one road that has been consulted by the federal government in Edo State, not the one they are patching, then I'll give my vote.
But patching is a sign of better things to come.
No.
Yes. I mean, without the patching, you can't even pass.
No.
I mean, say, for example, the Ekboma road. You know how terrible that
Why
road
are you
was.
patching down when there's an existing contract?
Yes,
Why not funding? You are that road last week. Why not funding?
One way of executing
If you can tell me that there is improvement in power supply, additional 1 hour in the last 4 years, I'll give you my vote.
Okay.
If you have implemented the 2018 budget, 1% in Edo State, I'll give you my vote. But if not,
Dr. Samson, but let me get your take on the level of awareness, political education.
The poverty that is striking us in face has even enlightened us. It has even made us to be more ready. We don't need any enlightenment. The people are ready with their vote. Okay. They are praying that may God let them see that day. Because the poverty is killing people every day, day in jail. So we are praying that may God let us reach that.
The figures are clear, everything is clear, sir. 2019 elections, Nigerians are hoping and praying that first of all we have life and also enforce our franchise. Sir, on that day, Nigerians will go and vote for the man who has history of converting 1 naira to 2 naira, not stolen wealth now, as perhaps business, not a man who has record of recession, not a man who is attached to recession, who is recession personified, poverty personified, a man who could not increase his cow since 2003 from 150 till date.
This comments now, like you're campaigning. I mean, don't allow that here. Yes. I asked you a question about Nigerians, not about the candidates.
Wrap it up, sir.
Yes.
Nigerians will not allow that consent to be sold this time.
Yes. Okay, let's leave it at that. Gentlemen, thank you for your time.
My wife, please, I'm not coming home with a 5,000 naira or 10,000. Let us suffer and vote. Then we will enjoy the end of the day.